Hey Tyler, I'm going to show you how I put a text in this cup that you sent me. And as you can see right now, I'm starting in the draft workbench. Usually when I create parts, I do it down here in part design, but I'm in the draft workbench right now. So just for starters, I'm going to go to the text string, and it really doesn't matter what place you put it for now. I'm going to assume that your grid was at 1 millimeter. And so press enter. You just wanted the letter D, so we're just going to put a D. We're actually going to make it, again, I'm assuming your grid was at 1 millimeter out here. Each of these blocks is a 1 by 1. So I'm going to make it 50 tall. Tracking, you really don't have to enter anything here. And for the full path to the font file, I could never get my computer to look at the fonts that were already installed on it. So on my desktop, I have two folders, 3D stuff, and I just put one for 3D text fonts, and I downloaded and installed the new font, and then moved the font to this folder. Alright, so now we've got a D here. As you can see, it's not in the right spot. We're going to move it, but let's extrude it first. Okay, so over here, if you look up in the upper left hand side, there's a horizontal box that says top. We want to change this to XZ. This is selecting the plane. So we're selecting it to that. As you can see, it moved the plane. Alright, now we're just going to click on this. You don't want the whole object clicked, you just want a single surface on it. So just, I'll show you again. You can click over here and sort of the nether sphere, and then come back and click on the surface, and that'll do it for you. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to up here and hit the extrude button. Now there are keyboard shortcuts for this. The keyboard shortcuts for the draft workbench seem to be unreliable for me, but that's another issue. Coming up here, we're going to hit extrude and then move this up and down a little bit till the computer starts recognizing something's going on. There we go. It's kind of a hit and miss thing. It doesn't work as well as I would like for it to. Alright, so we're going to extrude it on up a little bit. Really doesn't matter how tall it is. We'll change the depth later after we convert it to a solid. So there you go. You've got that extruded. And now we're going to go back and change our plane back to XY. You don't really have to do that, but I just don't like looking at that plane poking up through there. Alright, now we're going to go to the part workbench, and after we go to the part workbench, we're going to come back and select this. So again, just click off and deselect everything. Select your object here, and you can kind of double click to select it. Then we're going to come over here and modify the placement. So if you'll come over here to the left and you'll go down, there will be a set of properties and values. You want to down click this arrow to where you've got position exposed, and right here is where we're going to be able to move it. So again, just get this where we're looking down above it. We want this to be right in the center. Alright, that's pretty close to center. Then we're going to move it down this way. And that's not bad. Since it's 50 tall, we know that it needs to be about there. That's not quite center. I think it's moved over to the left 1 millimeter, but I think the optical illusion kind of makes it look pretty well balanced. Either way, we'll put it right there where it's dead center. Okay, so we're going to leave that there for now, and now we're going to come up here, and in this list of items, we want to first click on our object, that is the cup, and then we're going to press Control on our keyboard, and then click on the extruded surface. And now we're going to come over here and do this union of a couple of different shapes. So we're in the part workbench, and you've got this here. It's these two circles which are merged together. There's no line between them. We're going to click that. Now we've got a nice union. The D is now fused into that. Now, just to make the part a little bit more reliable, this step may not technically be necessary, but I sometimes have issues if I don't. We're going to convert this to solid, and then we're going to come over and hit the part again and come over here and do a refined shape. And so now we've got this. And as you can see, there's two things which are not grayed out. We want the old one to go away visually, so we're gonna come over here and hit the space bar on it after we've clicked on it. So you just click on it, press space, go away, they go. Now we're going to go to part design to make this D the size we want it to be. So I went to part design. I'm just going to click on the top of the D. I'm going to create a new sketch, and now I'm just going to take a circle and draw a circle on top of this, and then just do a cut. And this should lower our shape down. We can look at it and get it down as low as we would like for it to be. Oh, not that low. The computer's wanting to act bad today. Okay, so that's got it poking up just a little bit. Maybe not that much. There, you've got a nice clean D poking up down there. It's definitely visible. Okay, so we're going to do that. We'll actually make it a little shallower. There we go. And now we're going to come over here. We hit OK, back to the model. Selecting this, again, you've got to come over here to your list and hit your most recent pocket. And now sometimes I like to add checkpoints in my file, so I'll press like F2 on the keyboard, which lets me rename it and just call it checkpoint in case I want to come back and modify this later. Now I'm going to press Control E on the keyboard with this selected, and that allows me to export the STL.